But then the real transformation happened when my yoga teacher told me that every decision in life, you either make out of love or out of fear. These are the two basic emotions why you do everything that you do. And this really changed everything for me.
Hi everyone, it's our next episode of our SaaS and Tech interviews with our experts, and our guest today is David Henzel. So David is a CEO of Upcoach, which is an online coaching platform. And David have been building in SaaS and e-commerce space for over 20 years with the multiple exits. Hi David, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me on the show.
It's a big pleasure to have you today. Before we go further to our questions, maybe for the beginning, could you tell a little bit about yourself, a little about your company, and what you're doing and whom you're serving?
Sure. So I have a portfolio of companies. Upcoach is just one of them. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of different companies, so I'll not go through all of them. There are a few software as a service companies, also on-premise, which I think is the new hot thing. It's really coming back. Yes. And then a few outsourcing companies for customer support, marketing, SEO, and sales related, lead research and outbound. And then my main focus is Upcoach and managing happiness and love not fear, as you can see here in the corner somewhere. These are my passion projects. They're not focused, well, Upcoach is focused on being for profit, but the other ones are more for impact. And I'm originally from Germany. I've been an entrepreneur for a very long time. Mm-hmm. I actually never had a job. I was not made to work for somebody. I went to 14 different schools. I got kicked out everywhere, so I don't gel well with authority. And sold, as I mentioned, I sold my e-commerce company to get my investor visa in the United States because I saw what was going on in the tech scene there, and it was like, in the startup scene there was like nothing in Germany, especially where I lived. There was like nothing going on. So I was drawn to move over there. And then I had this wake up moment when my wife had breast cancer. This was like, I imagine myself on my deathbed, looking back at my life, thinking, did I really do what I was supposed to do? Kind of having like an early midlife crisis, I guess. Mm-hmm. And decided that I want to do something with more impact. Right. And so it's also a reason why we sold Max in the end, because I wanted to do something different. And now I'm focusing more on impact businesses.
Wow, fantastic. How do you deal with all of those companies that you're leading? You have so many businesses, you have so many startups.
Yes, I'm an organizational development geek. So if you, or the audience, if you have not read Traction, Get a Grip on Your Business by Gino Wickman, do yourself a favor and check it out. It teaches you the EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. Mm-hmm. Basically, how do you define vision, values, how to have a good culture, how to have proper meetings, and set your 90-day goals and the rocks and the big things you want to accomplish in your organization. Mm-hmm. And this was very impactful for my businesses. So it helps to have this framework to run the businesses by. And then I have great business partners or general managers who are taking care of the businesses. I like to start them, get them to a point that they can walk and run by themselves, and then not just I'm in the background and coach them and do some strategic partnerships. This is like how I can manage so many businesses at the same time. Yeah.
From the way you talk about that, it sounds so easy. It sounds like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
I guess
I'm finishing at 2 p.m. every day.
No, I actually really enjoy working. I guess like key thing is like finding really good people to work with is like one thing. Right. And the filter for me is how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if somebody is sloppy here in this area of their life, then they're going to be sloppy in business. If they're not on time here, they're not going to be on time there. If they treat a waiter or like staff, like, if they're a dick to a waiter, they're also going to be a dick to other employees. If they do not treat their wife right, then they're also, so I have like this filter mechanism to weed out people who are not a good fit. I had, and also this coming from falling on my face a few times and having like business partners steal from the company and stuff, so I guess if you're an expert if you've made every possible mistake on a narrow field, and I've made a bunch of them, and so at some point it gets easier.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing. So we have tech and SaaS interviews. So as the title suggests itself, our focus will be more on your SaaS, more on your experience with SaaS companies. So as a founder of multiple SaaS companies, could you define 3 main struggles that SaaS companies face from your experience?
I think there's like 1,000,001 struggles. One with a SaaS company is that you have to kind of build something of value before you can really charge for it, or before it becomes interesting for customers. So SaaS companies often need way more investment than a service company. Like if a marketing agency or any agency work is like, it's much easier to get this off the ground. So I guess this is like definitely a big struggle in the SaaS world. Another big thing is to gain trust with the audience. And something that I love doing is bringing somebody in who's a poster child in my SaaS business. For example, with Upcoach, I partnered up with Todd Herman. He wrote the book The Alter Ego Effect. He's a coach. He's coached lots of top athletes and celebrities. He actually, with this alter ego concept, he worked with Kobe to define his Black Mamba alter ego. So he's a real rock star in the field. And then having him as a partner, when you enter the market, then everybody who knows Todd will think like, okay, this software must be good. Let's check it out because Todd is involved. Or at MaxCDN, we went to Mashable, this big tech magazine, and said like, hey guys, we give you the CDN for free, and we even buy a banner on your website. In return, you put accelerated by MaxCDN in the footer of your website.
Right. And
also lots of sales calls where the customer said like, you can stop pitching, you had me at Mashable, it's cool, we're going to go with you. So kind of like having this acceptance in the marketplace is something that SaaS companies or any company struggles with, kind of the trust. And I don't know, which area do you want the third to struggle in sales and marketing? Or like, I guess another big struggle is that often people build something, like, oh, there's a hot market, let's build something in this field, but they do not have the experience in that realm, right? You're an expert if you have felt all the pain inside of a business or an area. And let's say, oh, let's build an email marketing company that, and if you're not an email marketer, if you have not lived through the pains of an email marketer, you won't build a really good software for that need. So scratching your own itch is always a good reason to start a SaaS company. And so you want to understand your customer. There's a story. Concept is called understanding the jungle. After the Vietnam War, the American general who fought the Vietnamese general, they met like 10 years later because like Reagan or some president came there and they had like talks. And the American general asked the Vietnamese general like, hey man, how could you beat us? We had like more money, more weapons, like, better technology, blah, 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 but you kicked our ass. Like, how is this possible? And the response of the Vietnamese general was, we understand the jungle better. And so if you build any SaaS company, you want to understand the jungle. So I have like this spreadsheet with a bunch of questions where the idea is you interview a large amount of people who are in this field, who are your ideal customers, and you tell them like, okay, first understand what they do, then you pitch them your solution, you show them what you've built, the MVP or whatever you have or what you have in mind. Then you ask them like, what was relevant for you, what should we add, what's not so important, what could we take away. So it's basically like some big ass Excel sheet where you kind of go through all these questions, and this gives you a lot of clarity. But it's much better when you partner up with somebody who is in that field, who really knows the game and can give you the trust.
Great.
On top of it.
So know your jungle.
It's also a management thing. If somebody that is on my team, they can never come to me and say like, hey, there's a problem, because every idiot can point out problems. That's not very hard. You have to come with ideally 2 solutions. Like, this is the problem. I think we could do this and we could do that. I lean towards this because of XYZ.
Right.
Because there's this book called The 1 Minute Manager and the Monkey. Otherwise, if you have like lots of direct reports, they come to you and they leave monkeys in your office, like, oh, there's a problem, and then the monkey stays in your office, but they have to kind of come with the monkey and leave with the monkey. Otherwise, you get overwhelmed. It's also like where you say like, hey, how can you be so relaxed running so many companies? I do not keep monkeys here. People come to me like, hey, there's an issue. I think we could do this and this, because then people really use their full capacity. Otherwise, like, oh, Daddy can fix it. Just like go to whoever, and then so.
So pointing to the mistakes or problems is not very productive.
No, it's like and also
it's actually counterproductive, I would say, right? You got so frustrated. Everybody comes with a problem, and you're just
yes. Yeah, but you don't use your full brain if you just like point out a problem. It's like and another thing, we have an error log in all of my companies. The idea of the error log is every time something does not work, we put in the error log, customer complaint, bug, whatever, right? And then we have it like, when did it happen? Who reported it? Who's responsible? What happened? Which customer is affected? Is it solved or not? And then most importantly, what can we do to make sure this never happens again? So, and then in every manager meeting, we look at the error log, and and the idea is like, nobody will get in trouble for making a mistake. It's absolutely human, and we encourage it. So it's totally cool, but I will rip your head off if you do not add it to the error log, because then that's like kind of like lying to me. So that's,
Okay. Well, beautiful. You have multiple experiences in building SaaS, and which is actually difficult. And what is more difficult is getting those SaaS to the exit, and you have multiple exits too. So what is your secret to why some of the SaaS founders, they fail even to build SaaS, while others like you have multiple exits?
I mean, again, coming back to, there's like 1,000,001 things why your SaaS fails. Not hitting product market fits, not being a good marketer. Either it's product or it's marketing, or you maybe pick too competitive market, or you pick the wrong niche, or whatever. So it's really hard to make a concrete statement on this. It's like it's so many facets that come into it, but it's mainly understanding a customer, building the right product, having a team that's capable of building the right product, having the right culture of love, not fear. Basically, if you fuck up, own up to it, share it, do not put it under the carpet. So kind of like having this mindset, and then being able to market it in a manner that suits you. Something we're currently doing with Upcoach, and this is for all the technical founders, if you're not a marketer at heart, build in public. What we're doing with Upcoach is we basically do Zoom calls or webinars where we invite our user base in, and we discuss things that we're building, for example, a new feature or something. And basically, and by doing this, we do this live on we use Restream to stream it to YouTube and to LinkedIn, etc. And it's a Zoom call, and so it's like other people see this, and because the people engage. If you ask questions on LinkedIn, it becomes anyhow. So kind of doing this in public is A, you get the proper feedback, and B, it's like a marketing channel wrapped into customer development and user research.
Yeah, so you're building together actually with your potential clients.
Or with our clients, clients and with potential clients. Yeah.
Nice, interesting. You talk a lot, even while our interview from the very beginning. I already heard I can hear that you're a person of principles, you're a person of practices, you're a guy who is like picking something from books and actually practicing those principles. You talk a lot about the importance of personal development. Can you share some specific habit or practice that has impacted your personal growth the most? Like you can give me a list actually.
So yes, I'm a personal development geek. I think it's, again, how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you have your personal life in order, it's gonna positively reflect on your business life. If you have your family life in order, it's also gonna reflect positively on your business life and on your personal life. It's kind of like this triangle of like, you're the professional, you the self, mind, body, spirit, and then your relationships, and so you want to have all of those in order. My wife and I started applying business principles to our personal life after a long meeting about the roles and responsibilities at Max CDN. And then I came home and I was sitting on the couch, really tired, and our daughter had a full diaper. And I said, like, hey, honey, look, Emma has a full diaper. And my wife got really upset because she thought I'm telling her to change the diaper, which was not my intention. I was just like tired, just making an observation.
Yeah.
And then I had the light bulb moment that we never talked about our roles and responsibilities in our private life. In business, it's clear, like who does what when.
Yeah.
But in your most personal lives and most relationships, that's not clear. So we sat down and we spelled it out, like what do I expect of her and vice versa. And this took away 80% of the friction we had in our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, holy cow, if this works so well, maybe we take other elements of business and apply to our personal lives, like having core values, having family core values, having a mission and a vision, having regular meetings, having a shared calendar, having a shared to-do system, all that stuff that you do in business, because like all these things in business are there to make a group of people successful and aligned and have good communication. And so we just like apply this to our personal lives, and it's worked wonders.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started a course called Managing Happiness where I teach this to people. And also like the leadership teams in my businesses also went through this course, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you're on your A game in your personal life, it transcends over to your professional life. So it's really important to figure out what you really want out of life, defining your mission, vision, values in the most important areas of your life, as I mentioned before, like your vision and mission for you as the family person, or in your relationships with your peers and friends.
Mm-hmm.
Then you as yourself, your mission and vision for yourself, and also the same thing for you as the professional.
Mm-hmm.
And then defining goals in these areas, and also habits, because I believe habits determine everything in our lives. If you're rich or poor, happy or unhappy, obese or in shape, it all boils down to which habits you cultivate.
Mm-hmm.
And so this the third pillar of managing happiness, to define your habits and live them and hold each other accountable. That's why I like to do them in like masterminds, in pods.
Mm-hmm.
That if we're together in a group, then I can see, did you do what you're supposed to do or not, and I can be accountable to you and say like, hey, what's up? You didn't do the thing you said you want to do. Positive peer pressure is a beautiful thing.
Positive, yeah. And speaking about habits, can you share some of your rituals? Let's say, do you have some morning rituals or evening rituals? Something that you repeatedly do every day?
Oh, there's a lot of things. In terms of habits, I also broken down into family, me and business. Business-wise, one is planning the next day, really important for me. At the end of the day, I sit down and I, look at the previous day, like how did this work and what I want to do the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing like planning. I plan out my weeks. Every Sunday I sit down, plan out the next week. Every quarter I sit down and plan out the next quarter. Every month I sit down and plan out the next month, what I want to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Then defining the frog. It's from a book called Eating the Frog. And the frog is the thing you least likely want to do, the thing you procrastinate on, and you do this first thing in the morning. This gives you an energy boost, versus like if you don't do it, kind of like as a kid, you start cleaning up your room instead of doing your homework, versus like if you knock out your homework, you focus on something more important. So basically giving priority to the things that are important. Then inbox zero. So at the end of the day, the idea is you have no emails in your inbox. Everything is either archived, delegated, or done, right? Because being on your A game, like how you do one thing, how you do everything, you want to do this. And also, it's totally fine to say, okay, I'm not going to do this, and just respond, okay, I don't have time for this, or just archive the email. Mm-hmm. But I think an A player does not. I never want to say like, oh, I want to do this. Damn, like I forgot. Yeah. Like, no, that's not an option. Like either I do it or I do not, and so I just want to be. I think A players don't drop the ball. Right. So every evening I want to get to inbox zero. Mm-hmm. And if I do not reach inbox zero for 1 week, I know that I'm overwhelmed and that I want to take a few things off my plate. It's like my early warning signal, so I do not burn out. Because if you're overwhelmed, then you stop, dropping good habits, and like the stuff falls away.
Right.
Important thing as well for me is sweat. I want to sweat every day, work out every day. I have a personal trainer who comes to my house 3 times a week, 6 in the morning, and this
6 in the morning.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
You know, you want to get the important things done before the day starts, because the day can be somewhat unpredictable sometimes, and so it's just like, you know, that's a must for me. And it's also like great accountability, because sometimes I do not feel like working out, or I didn't sleep well, but then this dude is standing in front of my house that's exam, so it's just like this, you know, again, positive peer pressure, you know, he's there, I gotta do it. And then I run like 3 times a week as well, the other days. So I think it's really important to do this. Before, I always thought like, hey, I should not go to the gym, I have too much work to do, I should be, you know, I'm better here in the office. But this,
so 3 times a day workout, 3 times a day running. What do you do?
Three times a week working out.
A week. Yes. And 3 times a week running. So what do you do with your one last day?
Usually I sometimes I also go running there. You know, the goal is to sweat every day, but sometimes like I have one off day because like it just doesn't fit in. You know?
I can't see you, you know, on this camera, but I'm pretty sure you're very fit.
could be better. Then another thing is I do the Maui Habit, which is from a book called Tiny Habits. The idea is that every morning when you get up, you tell yourself today is going to be an awesome day. You know, just like it sounds silly, but it's really impactful actually to be in the mindset of like, yeah, we can do this. Another thing I do is, where is it? I have this gratitude rock. You know, so every morning when I get up and I get dressed and I put my cell phone, my wallet, etc. in my pocket, I also pick up the stone and I go through the things I'm grateful for. You know, my healthy body, my wife, my daughter, our 10 dogs, you know, our businesses, friends, being in Belgium, you know. So, and when you do this, you put yourself into an all is well state of mind, because we are programmed biologically to always focus on the negative thing, right? The problem of the moment. And often this big problem of the moment, 6 months from now, you won't even remember this, you know. And by doing this exercise, you realize like, hey, I actually have so much beauty in my life. And it gives you way more energy and power to tackle the hard things that come up in life or in business, right? And then throughout the day, I have this stone in my pocket, and if I get stressed out, sometimes I feel the stone. This brings me back to like, dude, what are you doing? Life's beautiful, and this problem we're also going to solve, you know. And at the end of the day, when I come home, I take the stone out of my pocket and I go through the things that went great this day, you know, because often you have like, you know, productive morning, and then at 3 p.m. you have an unpleasant conversation with a customer, your spouse, whatever, lose an employee, whatever, and you think, oh my god, everything sucks, but it does not. There was like so much good stuff. I've built up this gratitude muscle quite a bit, and I think this makes it way easier to go through the entrepreneurial roller coaster or the life roller coaster.
Beautiful to notice things that are really important during the day.
Yeah, it makes a big difference to have these things. Then I have like Emma time and Yoda times. My wife and my daughter want to spend quality time with them, and I tend to just only focus on work. So I have like this thing in my habit tracker to remind myself, like, hey, do something with her, do something. You know? No food after 9 p.m. If I eat after 9 p.m., it gives me an energy boost, and then I can't fall asleep. And at 6 a.m., the train is in front of my door. You know, so I want to.
So what is the time when you usually go to the bed?
I go to bed usually at midnight. So
okay.
So
I get 2 hours of sleep.
5.5 hours, like kind of average. I talked to a sleep coach who pushed me to sleep more, even though I'm fine. But it's like, oh, you're gonna end up with Alzheimer's or something like this. So like, but I don't know, I feel good with less sleep. It's fine.
Beautiful. Well, you mentioned so many beautiful habits, and it's obviously working. So my question is, how to keep yourself motivated? I mean, I can understand that, you know, this stone of rock of gratitude can help me going throughout my day and having a better attitude and generally having a better having a better self well-being. How can you keep yourself motivated? Does it enough just to have the understanding of the value of those practices, or it requires a lot of self-control and discipline? How do you keep yourself motivated?
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess like being motivated, like one thing is like you just hack it by having positive peer pressure, hire a personal trainer or work out with a friend, you know, like schedule meetings, like give yourself deadlines, you know, schedule meetings when something has to be delivered, so this puts the pressure on you to actually do it. think positive peer pressure is like a really useful tool that you can implement to make sure you actually do the stuff that you want to do. Another things like having a strong why, defining your mission and vision or your purpose, and kind of then you get up in the morning and actually do something you care about, not just something to chase money. It's like there's so many ways I can make money. Just like focus on something that actually is close to your heart, then it becomes also much easier to do these things. And also acting out of love, and not fear. I used to be very introverted. I'm a recovering introvert. You can see, so I was so introverted, I was uncomfortable with running a meeting with my own team or being on a conference call with a customer. And this was holding me back in business a lot. And I met a friend who was like really crushing it with public speaking and networking. And I thought like, holy cow, this is so good for his business. And he looks like he's having a lot of fun. Yeah. I want this as well. So I did Toastmasters twice a week. It's like public speaking classes. And even though it was very painful, and I did networking events, 2 networking events per week, and I talked to everybody and their mother. And
also
it was like
painful.
Also very painful. But exposure therapy, it gets better over time. But then the real transformation happened when my yoga teacher told me that every decision in life you either make out of love or out of fear. These are the 2 basic emotions why you do everything that you do. And this really changed everything for me. For example, being on a podcast or public speaking, if I stand on stage and I think like, oh, do they think what I'm saying is stupid? Do they think I have a weird German accent? Do they think I look stupid? Then I cannot present because I'm full of fear and it's about me, it's not about the others. But if I turn it around and I think like, hey, what I'm sharing, it can help these people in their life or in their business, it becomes very easy to do this. Same with selling. A lot of people hate selling. I used to hate sales with a passion. Because I felt like a used car salesman. But if I know that, hey, my solution is actually good for you, then I can even be pushy, say like, hey, freaking buy this, it's going to help you so much, and it's coming from, and you feel that it's coming from a place of love, that I genuinely want to help you, versus that I'm selling out of fear because I have to hit my numbers or pay my mortgage or keep the startup alive, So it's like very different energy that is going on, So I could go on and on about this, but I think like if you manage to make all the decisions in your business and your life out of love and not out of fear, it's going to open up everything for you.
Wonderful. Wow. Well, I know why you have a coaching company now. I can listen and listen and listen. We can prolong our interview for 3 hours, and you're gonna charge me for that then.
You have to implement, not just listen. It's about execution, implementation. Thank you.
I guess that my last question, you already partially covered that, but I'm going to ask that anyways. You've written about the importance of finding purpose of your life. So first question is, could you please tell me clearly the purpose of your life? And second part of this question is that, could you share with us a specific moment or specific experience that helped you to discover your purpose?
So discovering your purpose is a long process. I found out that, hey, I want to have more impact when I had this like laying on my deathbed experience, or like a thought exercise. And I just like thought about it long and hard, like what is it that I really want to do? And what do you know the concept of ikigai?
No. Ikigai. Okay,
ikigai.
Sorry.
Yes.
Those areas.
Yes, the different areas of your life. What the world needs and what you're good at, and what brings you joy, etc. And then I kind of find, if you find the thing in the middle, that's your ikigai.
Yeah.
So, doing the funeral exercise, it's from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You imagine your own funeral and you write your own eulogy, and what would you like people to say about you when you're gone? Like, she did this or that or whatever. And what would your kids say? What would your partner say? What would the president of a country or whatever or you can write, let's say it's your 100th birthday and New York Times writes an article about your life. What would you want this thing to say? And then once you have this, it becomes, you can kind of like work backwards, begin with the end in mind, like this is where I want to be at, and then kind of like what do I want to do to actually reach this. So I think that's like the and just like think about it a lot.
And what is your purpose of life in one sentence?
Oh, it's like that. I'm on the podcast right now. My wife just came in and like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dogs followed her.
Jesus, show them. Having 10 dogs, it's like a paradise for me. I cannot imagine it. Oh my goodness. Oh my God, they're so beautiful. Jesus, how can you concentrate at work if you have 10 pets around you?
Yeah, I guess you get used to it.
Awesome.
So I think the main purpose of my life is actually to spread the word of love, not fear, to make everybody understand that every decision they make is out of love or out of fear, and give them the tools that they can switch from a state of fear to a state of love, and do this for the individual and also for individuals and then also for organizations. I think this is like if you really boil it down, that's my main purpose.
Beautiful. Well, I'm done with our main questions. Let's move to the rapid fire round.
That's cool.
Do you have a coach or mentor yourself? I know that you already have a workout trainer, you have a yoga coach. What about, let's say, life mentor, business mentor?
I like peer. Tombik. Yeah. Hello. I like peer learning. So I'm part of lots of masterminds with other entrepreneurs. And this is like something where how I like to learn and grow. And so I have lots of them, but no specific one coach for my life.
Got it. Your biggest regret?
I'm really, maybe not being able to spend more time with my mother when she passed away. It was complex. We moved to LA. No, but I actually don't, it is what it is. And, we all have to go through fire. And a friend of mine actually said this in a Toastmaster speech. We all go through fire and we have to decide, are we precious metal or are we wood? If we're wood, we burn down to ashes. If we're precious metal, we get refined. We get better through the tough things that we go through. So it's just all part of a learning experience. So I don't really. No. Another thing is like when I have a condition called aphantasia, so I'm hyperlogical and not very emotional. So I cannot create images in my head. So when I close my eyes and I think of an apple or my daughter's face, I see nothing. So when my wife went through breast cancer, I was not very empathetic because I also cannot feel empathy. It's part of the condition. I have logical empathy, but not emotional empathy. So, but yeah, I was not aware of it. So I do not. It would be nice not to do it, but now I know.
Got it. What is success for you?
Doing every day the things you like doing, like enjoying your path. I think that's probably like how I would define the success, right? And or success is being in a constant state of love would be the ultimate success.
Fantastic. If you met 10-year-old David, what would you tell him?
Learn as soon as possible to make decisions out of love and not fear.
Beautiful. And on that beautiful note, I'm gonna finish our interview. David, thank you very much for your time. I found it incredibly insightful. Thank you for your experience. Thank you for your willingness to share it.
Thank you very much for having me.